everybody. So this. I'm going to push back my promotion of my book. It is available, but it's not the finished version. I decided to not promote it until I make some revisions to it. I'm going to actually review each chapter and make sure there are no mistakes. And the reason that I'm not going to promote it right now is because I do realize that my arguments are ambitious, and so I really can't leave any room for error. I think that if it's not perfect, people are going to look for any holes in my arguments to try to rip them apart. They're not going to be forgiving because they are so extreme. So for me to promote it without actually having a finished product is not going to do anything to advance the arguments that I am advocating for. But that discussion that I had with Vegan Gains has really motivated me to tighten my arguments regarding veganism. And that debate did not go very well, mainly because I was talking from my phone and you guys could not actually hear a lot of the arguments I was making. But I'm going to review this discussion that he just had yesterday. This was the most arbitrary framework of ethics ever articulated by a human being, and his bullying of Chickpea was absolutely deplorable. So let's go ahead and review this video. I don't have a lot of time because I'm still reviewing my book, but I just really could not go by without actually reviewing this video. I'm sorry, let me go. Okay, here we go.
Gestures that would, get the stream taken down. So
yeah, I'm sure it'll be fine. So we are just waiting for Mr. Vegan Gains to come on here. I'm sure everybody here is familiar with Vegan Gains. He's got a huge channel there, over 300,000 subscribers. So he's a big deal. So I believe he's on his way, Noodles. He's in his Toyota. He's in his Toyota Corolla, driving here on the highway to heaven, as he would put it, to the Finding Gnosis show.
I believe so. Yeah.
If you guys aren't familiar, the whole Toyota Corolla reference is basically his way of scapegoating people for their own existence, to blame people, to say that if they don't enjoy their existence, they can just Toyota Corolla their way to the skyway to heaven. So this has also motivated me to address this in my book. I'm so glad that I decided to push back my promotion of it, because the more discussions I have, the more I am motivated to strengthen my arguments.
You should be with us momentarily.
Well, I tell you what, it got me off the sofa because I was feeling shit all day. So, yeah, I've been nursing this cold, trying to make it go away. Speak of the devil, Mr. Vegan Gains, you are on the Fighting Gnosis show, looking very dapper, sir. You are here. And, yeah, Mr. Noodles organized this, so welcome. Yeah. And you're going to have a conversation.
Just going to start off and say, obviously, we know which words and terminology and phrases we should not be using to protect.
I don't think we need to do. I think they know. Look.
Okay, well,
they know. Look, you're not stupid guys, so you know the story. So, who wants to start then? First of all, I believe the debate's going to be about the fact that Danny, you believe Mr. Vegan Gains should be an antinatalist, okay? And secondly, you think veganism is a bit of a waste of time.
By the way, just to remind y'all, I told Vegan Gains that I would go vegan if he would endorse antinatalism on his channel, but he rejected my offer because he has a sense of entitlement. A lot of them have this whole superiority. There's a hierarchy of veganism. They don't think that they have to support your liberation, but you're supposed to support their liberation cause while you remain enslaved. So that is the only leverage you're going to have. Don't use them. Don't allow them to exploit you. As long as they can get something from you, they can extract. They're going to support your life enslavement. So don't allow yourself to be used in this way.
Oh, I didn't say that.
Oh, go ahead then. Sorry. What is the debate or conversation, whatever you want to call
it? I don't know. I don't know. You tell me.
Well, I thought you said to me earlier that compared to antinatalism, veganism is a complete waste of time. And
no, I didn't say that. I just think that veganism is a downstream problem. I'm not saying that it's a waste of time, and there are some very, there's some very important downstream problems that need attention. Yeah, but it's still a downstream problem, and the upstream problem is unprotected sex, and that is the problem.
No, we're losing you. So basically,
sorry, you can't hear me?
Sorry, I can now. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm saying the The upstream problem is unprotected sex, which is that's the cause of all problems. That's the cause of all my problems. It's the cause
What do you
of
mean
all.
by unprotected sex? Do you mean like, are you an antinatalist or are you just responsible procreation?
I don't call myself an antinatalist because I don't really like any labels. But if I call
Do you
myself
think anybody should have kids, or do you think nobody should have kids?
no, I would call if I have to call myself anything, I'm an abolitionist. Abolitionist, which I define as calling for the abolition of all slavery. And I believe that slavery, the ultimate slavery, is slavery of being in the body. So I'm kind of.
Do you think we should go around killing everybody?
No, I don't think we should kill everybody. I think that we should.
Do you see the logical fallacy he started off wrong? Because he's saying that just because you don't support forcing people to exist against their will, that all of a sudden you have a duty to eliminate all human beings on the planet. This is what he does. He strawmans people the entire time. That argument looked like he actually won. He did not win. His arguments were very weak. He always has to use a Hitler straw man. He always has to use the most absurd counterfactual examples. He's not an intellectual. This is a lightweight.
I think that we should end slavery by firstly looking and closing the door in to the penitentiary and opening the door out of the penitentiary. And then when we're in the penitentiary, we have to work on ourselves, unfortunately, which is a real pain in the ass. And really, like, almost every bone in my body doesn't want to do it. But we have to work on ending our slavery to our own desires whilst we're here. Yeah. So whilst we're
okay, I want to.
I'm saying
understand.
One of the jobs that I believe we've got to do when we become aware of the penitentiary that we're in is to let everybody know, right? Unfortunately, that's what we're in, and to turn the tap off at the beginning and to open the door at the end. So euthanasia should be available to everybody who wants it, and people should be thinking very, very carefully about bringing people in. And I'll just finish on this. I would say to you and to anybody listening that I'm not so interested in the question about should everybody not have children or not, because that's just an opinion about what people should do, but they're not going to do it, so therefore it's a useless opinion, right? What I do question is
they will stop procreating if there are consequences, and one of those consequences, because you really have to meet people where they are. They don't care about your enslavement, but they do care about animals. That is the only leverage you have, and unfortunately, the animals are being held hostage because they're not going to capitulate. They're not going to negotiate. They're not going to support anti-nazism. They're going to continue breeding humans into hell, and then they're going to say that you have a duty to not consume animal products. So use their concern for animals to your advantage, because they don't give a fuck about you. So until they stop procreating, don't go vegan. Don't support their cause. I'm not saying that veganism isn't a legitimate cause, but the way that they are doing it is completely ineffectual. They're going to procreate while telling you to go vegan. It completely offsets any benefits of going vegan. It makes absolutely no sense.
I've yet to find any human being that can tell me a good, logical, and ethical reason why they themselves should be reproducing. So I'll leave you with that. But I also wanted to say that I don't know if I'm correct, but I understand that you've had a vasectomy. Which case,
I'm also on steroids.
Yeah, okay.
Which makes it even more problematic. He's already child-free. He's not going to procreate, but yet he decided to reject my offer that I would go vegan if he endorsed anti-nazism. It would cost him absolutely nothing. I would benefit because he has a massive platform, and he could use his platform to advance my cause. But he has a sense of entitlement that I just should go vegan, right? He's not going to offer me anything in return. I should just do it. And because he thinks that I should be motivated solely by the welfare of animals, he has a sense of entitlement. So he doesn't think that he actually has to give me anything for going vegan. I should just do it. But he doesn't actually have to support anti-nazism, because anti-nazism is just bullshit. But I should forego my natural diet, and he's going to advocate for people to procreate, or at least excuse it, and there's no reciprocity whatsoever. He's so full of shit, and I'm ready for a round two. But I'm not going to debate. I'm not going to debate him again until I finish my book, because I want him to actually read it, and then we can actually have a real substantive debate.
In which case,
that does act as a contraceptive.
Oh, okay, great. So I have nothing but respect for you for doing that. I think it's absolutely amazing, and yeah, I'll leave it there.
Okay, well, I want to understand your position. Like, do you think not a single person should ever have kids? Like, in an ideal world, if you could convince everybody, would you be in favor of nobody ever having children?
Well, put it this way. I can't think of a reason why anybody should. Why should anybody bring someone into this world?
So is your position that nobody should ever have children?
No, it's not my position, because I don't hold that type of position. I remain with the question. Why would anybody, given the risks involved and given the people that already need adoption?
Well, it's twofold. They should not impose life onto you in the first place. And once life is imposed on you, you should have a right to exit. So you should not be forced into an involuntary existence and forced to bear all the costs of your involuntary existence while everyone else reaps the benefits. While the state, the master state, while the vegans who procreate, they reap all the benefits while you bear all the costs. And I think it was problematic that social experimentalists did not actually admit that he is against procreation, because this really set up the conversation to where he sort of fell into his trap, because he contradicted himself. He absolutely is against procreation, but he didn't just admit it.
And they need fostering, and they need taking care of, and they need your time, and they need you as an uncle or an aunt or a godfather or whatever. Why would anybody do that in today's world or in any world? That's the question I remain with, right? And as of yet, I haven't had an answer. So, like, for example, you've had a vasectomy, so I assume that you've come to the conclusion that you don't want to bring someone into this world, right?
Yeah.
So why would anybody do that? I've offered people a prize of up to $10,000 to tell me, give me a good, logical, and ethical reason why they themselves should reproduce, should bring someone.
So what would the criteria for that be?
Well, I'll tell you what, have a go and we'll see. Have a go if you can think of one. Let me know.
Well, sure, because you want to.
Yeah, that's not a logical.
You see the arbitrary standards of ethics just because you want to. Many people just want to eat a steak, but he's going to say this is unethical to do that. But yeah, it's a complete double standard when it comes to procreation. This is what they all do. This is what they all do, the same bullshit. Just because you want to. They don't actually have to articulate a justification for procreation, but they want to put you on the fence that you have to justify consuming your natural diet. This makes absolutely no sense. They impose life on you. They know that you are an obligate omnivore, but you're supposed to resist your natural urges so that they can continue procreating while justifying it by saying, oh, well, we're just going to make everybody go vegan after we enslave them. It makes no fucking sense.
Ethical reason to do something.
How is that not a logical ethical reason?
Well, because the fact that someone wants to do something, what differentiates us from animals?
Well, what's the criteria?
Name the trait, vegan games. Name the fucking trait.
What would be a good logical reason?
What differentiates us from animals?
Well, you haven't even told me what the criteria is for what a good logical reason would be.
Okay, what differentiates us from animals?
Can you give me a reason for why wanting to isn't a good logical ethical reason?
Can you tell me why eating a steak isn't a good justifiable reason?
Well, because for the same reason as wanting to rape a child is not a good logical and ethical reason.
Why?
Why? What wanting to do something is a logical and ethical reason to do it.
Yeah, why is it not?
I want you to understand the reason he's doing this. He's not really motivated to have a serious ethical discussion. What he's trying to do is back this person into a corner. So if he actually articulates his justification, then he's going to look for a hole in it, because what his interest is winning a debate. He doesn't actually give a shit about reducing harm. What Vegan Gains is interested in doing is dominating people. This is not a serious debate. It was not a serious debate when I so-called debated him. He was trying to dominate me. And so I met his energy, right? So now I got to go toe-to-toe with him. He wants to insult me. I have to insult him. It's not substantive. He is not a serious person.
Logical it is. Ethical it's not, because it harms somebody else very seriously.
Okay, and why is that an issue? Like, I'm a moral anti-realist, so from my perspective, if...
Right, so you're a moral anti-realist. So you have an arbitrary standard of ethics. Why is it wrong to consume animal products, but somehow it is wrong to consume your natural diet? It makes no fucking sense.
You have a given preference towards something, and it suits your own values, then that would in fact be ethical. So if your motivation to have children is because you want to have kids,
Yeah.
and you are personally fine with potential consequences of that.
It's not the consequences that the parents have to bear. It's the child who has to bear all the consequences. So they don't get to impose an involuntary existence on you, and then you have to bear all the consequences. This is why I articulate in my book that parents owe a moral debt for life enslavement, because they reap all the benefits. They are unjustly enriched by your existence, and you have to pay all the damn costs.
So yeah, your kid could suffer, but it could also experience well-being.
No, they necessarily will suffer. Everybody suffers. Everybody suffers. Everybody dies. Everybody gets sick. Everybody has to obey unjust laws. Everybody has to age and decline. Everybody has to, well, according to his worldview, they have a duty to go vegan, which is also a form of suffering. They have existential dread. And he completely dismisses this because he has no empathy for humans. It's a complete double standard. It's an arbitrary thing that he just made up. And because it's vegan gains, I said so. So manifestly, what I say is correct. And then he basically justifies it backwards. It's like, I said it, so let me find an explanation after the fact.
And maybe you see a much higher likelihood of your kid experiencing well-being. Maybe you're rich and you can give your kid a good life. And the likelihood of them, I don't know, like getting addicted to drugs or joining a gang is very low. How would that not fulfill? I don't know why that would violate a criteria of a good, logical, ethical reason.
So, what if someone wanted to eat some meat?
What does that have to do with anything? Again, I keep asking you what the criteria.
He doesn't want to address that because he knows he's full of shit. He just arbitrarily said that if you want to do something, that makes it ethical. But when it comes to consuming animal products, that's where he draws the line.
For a good, logical, ethical reason, you can't even give me the criteria.
Right. Okay. The criteria is that you do something. It's not ethical to cause someone a great deal of harm without their consent.
Okay, so the criteria is we're going off the fundamental
to do something. Yeah, I was always under the impression that it is unethical to do something that is going to cause somebody else a huge amount of harm and death without their consent.
Oh, okay, so if that's the criteria, how would wanting kids with the intended goal of giving them a good life violate that?
Because wanting has got nothing to fucking do with anything. Wanting is a desire that gets planted into your head, usually, or is either planted into your head and or.
Okay, well, simply bringing something in the world doesn't cause some great harm.
What's wanting got to do with anything? The fact is,
simply
I may want
to
punch you in the face, but it's going to lead to you being in pain. Therefore, unless you consent to it, right? Look. Put it this way. I can see what's going on here. As far as I'm concerned, what's going on here is just, I don't even know why I agreed to doing this whole thing, because I'm not into debates, really. I'm more into kind of like chatting to you, right? And maybe seeing what we've got in common and trying to understand each other better. But where this is going, right? I mean, I saw you do.
Oh, no, somebody's disagreeing with me.
Yeah, no, it's not that. It's not that. I just don't see where this is going. I don't see what is going on here.
Well, this is clearly going somewhere. Okay, so basically, fine. We can agree to that standard that causing somebody harm without consent is unethical. I don't see how. Unless you've,
we'll put it this way. I don't want to live. I don't want to do that. I understand the way civilization works, as far as I can understand it. The way it works to some degree, although corporations and governments don't do this, but to some degree there is an agreement that it's just not okay to harm somebody else without their consent.
Yeah, sure. We can agree to that. Yeah, sure.
Progression principle, right?
Sure, we can agree to that standard.
Bringing someone into existence, you are bringing them into harm's way for no good reason. It's not that there's no good reason to do that to them.
Creating the potential.
It's always completely selfish.
Creating the potential for somebody to experience harm is not the same thing as causing somebody harm without their consent.
Yeah, it may not be the same thing, but it leads to the same thing.
No, it absolutely does not. So if I have children and my child ends up growing up and decides to smash their fingers with a hammer, they consented to doing that. That's something that they did on their own free will. So you're not violating the harm they experienced. It's not something that you inflicted upon them without their consent.
What if they got cancer? What if they got terribly depressed and killed?
That's not something you did to them.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Something that you caused. It's something that you caused.
No, it's not. You caused them to exist.
You caused
No,
it. By
you
having
caused them
unprotected
to exist.
Yes, and
Every bad thing that
they
could
wouldn't have
potentially happen to
existed.
them.
If they wouldn't have existed, they wouldn't have had to go through that.
That doesn't mean you caused that.
Yes, you are the primary cause.
Okay, so do you think
So hold on a second. Let me ask you this question.
Wait. If you believe this,
Two midgets have sex and they create a midget.
you believe this,
No, I think they should be locked in prison before their child commits murder. I think every
so
every
you think if somebody has children,
parent,
they should be locked in
every
prison?
parent should be put in prison for what they've done. It's a crime
Then
against
why
humanity.
the fuck? So sorry,
It's a
then
crime
why the
against
fuck?
humanity.
So
it's
you're
a
just
crime
okay,
against
so,
the children. It's a crime against themselves
right,
as
so
well.
you were bullshitting me earlier. I asked you directly, do you think nobody should have children ever? And then you said, oh, well, that's not my position. Now you're fucking telling me anybody who procreates should be locked in jail. So clearly your position is nobody should ever have children.
Not my position. I didn't say not my position. What I did say is, and this is the last thing I'm going to say, because I think that your energy is so, I don't know, it's just not something that I want.
Well, I've gotten a whiff that you're completely dishonest.
You're just
anything directly and honestly.
I'm not interested in having debates, which is why I shouldn't have come on here. I just wanted to have a
Yeah, right. Oh no, somebody disagrees with me.
All right, guys. Listen, why don't we just talk one at a time then, and just let it roll out naturally?
Okay. Yeah. Go for it.
Go ahead, Danny.
I'm done with what I've said for the moment, and
Okay.
you can carry on chatting. Maybe you can chat about what we've just said, you guys.
It's up
what
to
the fuck is this? Like, I'm sorry, you say a bunch of stupid shit, and then I can't question you on it, and then I have to talk to somebody else. So again, I asked you directly, do you think no one should ever have children? And then you said, well, that's not my position. then you take the position that anybody who procreates should be locked in jail. So, like, that seems to be the case, that you believe nobody should ever procreate.
Can I just ask you a question further?
Why, if you procreate, why would you lock them in jail?
Really cool. By the way, my name's Danny. What's your name? Can you just remind me what your name is?
Richard. Like, that's my actual name.
Okay, hi Richard. Okay, let me just backtrack, right? I must apologize. I made a mistake, right? I came here kind of knowing that this is going to be a kind of debate. I wasn't really sure what it was, and if there's part of me that's kind of into the idea of debating, this little sort of devil part.
I don't care why you're here, what you're expecting. I don't care.
Can you let me finish, right? I am not interested in debating people. I'm not interested in
Then fuck off.
Okay, fine, then I will. That's fine. I'll shut up now.
So basically, from what I've heard here, Vegan Gains is saying, Danny, that what you said earlier, he finds disingenuous. He feels that you actually do view it as bad and wrong that anybody has kids, because the statements that you've said have led to anybody watching coming to that conclusion. You feel they should be in jail, that it's a crime against humanity, that it's the worst possible thing you can do to another human. So that's just a position we're trying to cement. Is that your position, that it's always wrong for someone to have a kid?
I kind of like, as I said to you before, I think I need just a little bit of space, because I can feel the problem with debates. Yeah, I'm just saying
that somebody will disagree with you and
he's going to interrupt. Can I ask you? Can I just? The only thing I ask for is
I'm not interested in having a meta argument over why you don't.
I really don't want to have. I really don't want to.
I don't really care whether or not you like debating or not.
BMW, if you could just.
So again, if your position is that nobody should have children because it violates consent and it causes harm, then let's debate that, because I disagree.
Okay, all right, guys. So we're going to debate that.
You go and debate that, right? That's absolutely fine with me, right? I've just reminded myself that I find debates are really unhelpful, and I'll tell you why. Just for myself, this is just me. You may be different, and you clearly are, and you're into debates.
I don't give a shit. Right? I don't give a shit.
Okay, fine. You may not give a shit.
You can just shut your mouth. I don't fucking care about why you don't like debates.
But what happens?
I don't give two fucks. You don't know. Stop. Stop. not interested. I don't care. I don't care. I don't need to hear your rationalization of why you don't like debates. I don't give a fuck.
So, right, I mean,
I'm not here to fucking listen to you ramble about why you don't like debates.
You guys,
So either argue with me or don't.
debate about.
Either argue with me or don't.
All right, guys. 1 second. I don't want to have a debate with anyone, actually, Danny. Just so you know, I'm not bothered.
Right, okay, fine. So,
But,
I think
if you want to bring it into a conversation, a strong conversation, look, the point is, you're coming at this from what everyone else would perceive as an antinatalist angle. Vegan Gains is coming at this from the angle that he doesn't believe in antinatalism. Okay, and basically, that's the two differences here. Now, you have said you feel that it's wrong for people to have kids, that parents should be put in jail. I know that's maybe just a strong rhetoric. You know, you're trying to maybe you're doing that. But can we just agree that you don't think people should have kids?
Again, it's the words that you use that I have problem with. I think the idea of should is just it's like it's non-acceptance of reality. The reality is that they do have kids. Yeah. And
you just said
my position is that sentience is a terrible, terrible curse. The idea of creating sentience in the first place, the idea of creating all these pain receptors in another being, right? I just think that's really cruel. It's a dangerous, cruel gamble. That's all I think. But the thing is that I think I need to leave this particular room right now because I cannot stand this type of energy. It's horrible. It's nasty. It's really destructive as far as I'm concerned. It's not conducive to growth and understanding of each other. It's just like really, it's like, I don't know. I just,
buddy, you've been bullshitting about me this entire time. And you're surprised that I'm
when he's finished, I'm happy to come back on the show. But for the moment, I'm not interested in this kind of energy.
Well, why can't you just, Danny?
I'll just put my mic off, or I'll put my mic off.
Well, why can't you just pretend you're at Speaker's Corner talking to someone, and that's it? Because you're very good at that.
Because there's just something. This energy makes me sick.
I've never encountered somebody who actually disagrees with me and will make arguments against me and will make me explain my position.
Well, no, just to reiterate the NW's point. Yeah, I've watched you do the Speaker's Corner stuff, and you're pretty strong. There's been plenty of very combative people there.
I know, I agree with you, but there's something about this that I find very distasteful about the whole way it's being.
Well, okay,
if I was in Speaker's Corner, what I would do, right, with this kind of energy is I would just literally meditate for a while and see what happens.
Random folks that you'll run into at the park at Speaker's Corner are going to be able to argue as well as me. So yeah, welcome to the fucking world of online debate, where you'll encounter some people who actually know how to debate and will actually make you define your positions, and you'll discover that you haven't really thought things through all that well, and you're actually going to have to think for once.
Yeah.
So,
pretty big hard on when you do that.
So the main contention we have here is that you're claiming procreation is morally wrong because you are causing harm which violates consent. You're fine with harm if it does not violate consent. So if somebody, like two people agree to a boxing match, presumably, but you do have a problem with harm if it violates consent, like if I were to just randomly punch somebody in the face. So the contention here is that I do not see how procreating violates that harm consent principle. You are not causing harm by procreating. There is a downstream effect where you can look at the causal chain of events where because somebody procreated, harm was produced in the future. And if they did not procreate, that harm wouldn't exist. But that doesn't mean you are the cause of that harm. So if you do believe that, if you do believe that because somebody in some way is part of that causal chain, they are responsible ultimately, that would mean if you have kids and your child rapes somebody or murders someone or commits any kind of crime, steals, that would mean, logically, you would have to concede parents should be locked in jail for anything. Their child does, regardless of whether or not they were actually directly related in the crime. So if your kid steals, well, the parents would have to be locked up. Because even though the parents didn't tell the kid, hey, go to Walmart and steal, or was in any way involved in the crime, just simply because, oh, well, the child exists because of the parents, and because the kid exists, that allowed them to later commit that crime. So do you believe parents should be locked in jail for any crime their kid commits?
There we go, Danny. Danny, so the question is, do you believe parents are always responsible for their children's actions? Are parents fully responsible for all the harms that happen to a child and for all the actions that they do in life? Because I believe that is something Danny does believe, because they caused the life to happen in the first place, and therefore they set it on the road to all the actions that it would take and all the harms it would receive. Danny, sorry, go ahead. I'm speaking for you.
No, you carry on. You're doing very well.
Yeah, no, that's the question, though. Do you truly believe that the parent is responsible?
What do you think?
Well,
we're asking you.
Yeah, I know what you are, and I'm asking DNW. What do you think?
I think, well, first of all, personally, I don't believe in free will. Okay, so it would be, I would say it's even deeper than the parent level. They're on the chain of causation for sure. But because I'm a hard determinist, I would say there's other things that cause the parents to do what they did as well. And there's other stuff happening to the child, or the adult in life, the child of the parents, that is outside of either the child or the parents' control. It's all just happening. It's the universe moving through time. It is just, determinism. That's my view. But the question is, what do you think?
Yeah, I just kind of like, I think that this is why I don't, this is why this kind of confrontative, this type of thing, right? In this particular, this is how I feel about it.
It's a simple yes or no question.
No, it's not simple yes or no question.
It is.
I just think it's a real shame. It's not. It really isn't. I think it's a real shame that this is how this conversation has to go, right? Because I think that this conversation would go a completely different place, which is to firstly acknowledge that the four of us are people who are concerned about suffering and concerned about doing whatever we can to reduce it and to prevent it.
All right. I tell you what, guys. I'm sorry to butt in, but Vegan, did you want to say something?
There's two issues here. So one relates directly to what we were just talking about. Your whole thesis behind why it is immoral to procreate is because procreation causes harm which violates consent. That is in contention right now. We're trying to sort that out. You refuse to engage.
I do.
You refuse to engage in the questions I'm asking.
It's really simple. I don't care about these. I'm not interested in these conversations.
Oh, you don't care now.
You're trying to win some kind of argument for reasons that I don't even know, right?
Oh, I'm not allowed to disagree. I'm not allowed to make arguments now. We're just supposed to all just say words and not actually explain these ideas and see if they make any sense. Secondly, this guy's talking about reducing harm. That's what he ultimately wants to do. How would everyone not having children reduce harm? Presumably, animals are still going to exist, and presumably, there would be more animals in existence if humans were to go away, because we take up their habitats. So we build cities, we build farmland, we build industrial zones, which get rid of natural native habitat and wildlife. Well, if we go away, if nobody has children, presumably there will be more animals. What are those animals going to do? They're going to rape and kill each other. Look at what happens, in the wild. wolves tear apart deer, or lions kill gazelle, or insects killing each other? Are you reducing harm by having more animals that have no moral agency and do whatever the fuck animals do? So if we're all interested in reducing harm, I don't see how that's a pathway towards that. Human civilization seems to be, on the aggregate, far more moral, far more pleasant, far more ethical based on our own preferences than nature, natural, native wildlife. So I don't even understand how any of these ideas even achieves that goal.
There you go. Well,
but he ran away. Oh no, somebody's disagreeing with me and they actually have arguments and they're able to poke holes in my logic. I was only here for a conversation. I just like saying words.
Well, Vegan Games, thank you so much for participating. I do appreciate you coming here. We do have a 71-year-old
We stop it. Stop my age.
So what do you think?
I was coming here to support Danny, but
Oh,
he's
right.
gone. So I was just going to sort of help back him up a little bit because he was on his own, and I don't like to keep being picked on.
Yeah.
I've been reading his book; it's fabulous. Isn't
Okay,
it?
okay.
I'm just so to reiterate Vegan Gains' point. So it sounds like there's this notion that well, Danny was saying he has sort of this utilitarian approach that we want to reduce suffering as much as possible, and VG is saying that it seems like there's more evidence that suffering would increase if humans weren't here and animals were left to their own devices. And that what do you Vegan Gains? What do you think? Like,
Can I just say, Danny said he'd like to meditate, so he should feel free to meditate now while he's offline. He can come back on to make a point if he wants to. But sorry, go ahead.
well, so what do you say to the people who say that humans are going to cause way more harm than the animals in the long run?
I don't know how you could figure that. You can look at like the types of deaths that happen in nature. Animals either die of disease, die of starvation, die of exposure, die of environmental disaster, or die violently. Those die. They also don't live particularly good lives. We have hentai. You can go to Asian massage parlors and get hand jobs. You can watch TV. You can be in a nice, cozy, heated, and air-conditioned house. You can go out in the world and interact with other people and other animals without having to worry about getting your throat ripped open, without having your guts just eaten out while you're still alive. That's quite a luxury. I would say, like, on average, your average human being lives a very good, safe, comfortable life versus your average animal in the wild.
And you're saying we can help extend that luxury to the animal kingdom.
Well, yeah, that's another thing too. With increasing technology, with improvements in human culture, which have happened gradually over years and years and years. We're being more ethical to each other. Before we used to like stone women to death for having sex outside of marriage. Now we're okay with kids being gay, and we're not murdering people based on their religion as long as they're not Muslim. There's a lot of improvements to human civilization. And I only see that going in that positive direction in the future. And we're extending our ethical values to animals as well. Like, look at the growth of veganism and everything. So it seems to be a benefit.
Right. So what was I going to say? So okay. So if Danny is saying there's no unselfish, unethical reason, or there's no unselfish reason to have a child, if someone says, "Oh, I want to procreate to," in the hopes of, I don't know, making,
I completely reject that idea. I know people personally
for animals and humans alike, because
I know people personally who state that is the reason they have kids, to make the world a better place and create better human beings, and so their kids can live better lives than them. So that's just completely nonsense.
So one of the things that a lot of the ANs will come back with, "Oh, you're exploiting that child, you're using them as a means to an end, and no human should be every human should be an end unto themselves," or something. What do you say to that?
I don't know exactly what they mean by that. So first of all, they seem to have this concept that, like, again, you're violating consent in some way. They didn't ask to be born. They didn't ask to have any responsibility. Well, you're talking about a person that doesn't exist. So I don't know how you can violate consent. When a person doesn't exist. Secondly, if you ask the majority of people, even people who've lived very hard lives, I've known people personally who survived the Holocaust, they would rather have existed. So this whole idea that you're violating consent in some way, when I don't even see how that's logically possible. And even if we were to, like, consider there are some people who don't want to live, when the vast majority, like damn near 100% of people, will tell you they would have preferred to have existed than not ever existed, I don't see why that's an issue.
There you go. Does anybody else have any questions? For vegan gains before we wrap it up?
Like the only way his position makes any sense is if he takes like the Gary Amendum stance, where we need to use all the nuclear weapons on Earth to just exterminate all of existence. Otherwise, this whole idea where only humans should be, prevented from procreating. It's just bizarre. Like there's a fundamental logical problem with his argument to begin with, where again he stated the reason procreation is unethical is because it causes harm, violates consent. I reject that idea. I was trying to have an argument over that idea, and he just completely checked out and would not actually defend his position or answer basic, simple, clarifying questions. And secondly, if the ultimate goal is to reduce harm, and we just accept that at face value, then I don't even see how that achieves that goal. Unless we're going to exterminate all life on the planet with like nuclear bombs.